So, you want to build a clock tower. Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build yourself a clock tower, perfect for any medieval or modern settings, and it even has some foliage on it. Built-in lighting to make sure it works at night, and it's decently easy to build, something you can do without enchanted tools. So, right into it. Let's start by getting ourselves a simple flat area. It doesn't have to be very big. And because I do not give exact instructions, so that way you can make whatever decisions you want in your builds, you just need somewhere around a 13 by 13 area. Make sure this clock tower is an odd number of blocks on the foundation. Then, space out 4 pillars at the bottom, like here. You can see they're 7 blocks apart, 2 wide, so you can get maybe about 11 blocks, and then a little bit for the sidewalk near it. And just to make sure it's not too close to anything else. From here, add some arches and connect them. I recommend making this out of deep slate, but you can try any other kind of block for it, as long as it has a stair and a slab variant, in case you want to make a light one. Next up, right here at the base of our pillars, add alternating bricks and stairs. Notice how there is a big gap for the blackstone foundation. We'll put bushes there, but for now, put walls and then some chains on top. So, like this. And then what we want to do is add ourselves some candles if you want. You can put them on top and ignite them, but very optional, we add lighting elsewhere. Now, we do need these foundations to be decorated, have some lighting and some bushes down here, just to keep it interesting. But for any city version of this, make sure there's a sidewalk near it, because your clock tower is meant to be a monument. So let's go in, drill it all in. We add some deep slate around it, and then let's say polish andesite. This varies depending on your sidewalk block. So with that, now we can walk around and see we have a bunch of nice stuff ready to be built on. Go right here and grab yourself some moss carpet, and then a light 15 block. So like this, and then we have hidden lights. Then we need to decorate this foundation here, because once it gets covered up by bushes, we'll have an issue. So that resolved. Now we can go in and add ourselves some bushes. And there's a lot of ways. Azaleas combined with their flowering variants, and then some cherry. Mix them all in together in order to create a nice festive looking thing. So getting rid of the night vision I didn't have, and now midnight, you can see it is well lit here, even without the street lamps. So you can see why the candles were optional. But now we have a very nice foundation. If you gave up right about now, well, hey, at least you have a foundation, and you can use this for whatever different kind of build you want. Now, we need to go up, and going up is going to be kind of annoying, because I decided it's gradient time. And of course, gradients are fantastic. So let's build ourselves up any amount of blocks that is divisible by 8. Or you can do by 3, there's a bunch of different ways you can do this. Either way, make sure that you do not have a prime number, if you know what that is. So right here, I decided I'm going to do 24. So building my way up, I'm just going to build this, and you can see how the bottom and top blocks are complete squares, but the inner blocks have their corners cut off. This is to give it a little bit more variance to it. If it's just a solid pillar all the way up, it's going to be somewhat boring. And nobody really wants that, especially since this is meant to be one of the focal points of any town. So you can see here, 24 blocks. This is very important because it is divisible. So let's use this to mathematically create ourselves a gradient. To begin, go to hueblocks.com. You can see here, we can choose the blocks we want to start with. I recommend something dark. Right here, I use black concrete powder. I choose mud later. But anyways, scrolling down, there's a lot of different whites you can choose, but I'd say the best one is normal snow because it is the brightest. And you can see here, a bunch of blocks. Don't use shulker boxes for this, or basalt, or anything that requires its orientation to be to the side. So like this, you can simplify it and change it around, and you can see how we're getting different kinds of things. Now for my palette, I have mud, gray concrete powder, tough andesite, clay, diorite, calcite, and snow, which led to a pretty nice gradient as you can see here. Now with this here, you can see it is a gradient. I mean, technically. This gradient is not very good. Even though it has all the right blocks, it is missing something. And that's because the gradients aren't meant to be uniform. Instead, you need to make them somewhat jagged. Like that, it's a bit too smooth. You can see here, not really. But once I start dithering it like this, then it actually starts coming together. So it's time for a quick little time lapse. Do this to all of your layers. And you can see this is really helpful. Because when all the things are scattered like that, it makes the individual layers less uniform. It makes it look like the bottom is darker and the top is lighter. Does it really make much sense in reality? Probably not, but either way. We have a finished gradient here and it looks very good. And yeah, this tower is technically made of snow, calcite, and clay, all very unstable materials, but doesn't really matter. Right now, we need to install the clock. And this is pretty simple. We want to make a roughly circular thing. Don't worry too much, don't pull out your circle generators, just make it roughly circular. This isn't even symmetrical top to bottom. So, another time lapse, you can see here how I designed mine. You can pause to take a look at how I do it, but of course, I strongly recommend innovating with your own designs. The inner area should be white concrete and I use shelves to make the hands. So, we have that going on, and we successfully have produced ourselves a clock. But it does need a little bit more to it. This time, we need to add the roof. So kind of like how we have these spikes down here, let's add them to the top. And then we're going to make this all nice and pointy. We can also use existing clock towers in real life for reference, such as the Elizabethan Tower. You thought I was going to say Big Ben, didn't you? But anyways, with some real life inspiration, we can make a pretty interesting roof. So let's just build ourselves some copper, some prismarine for the top, and move it up a little. And you can see, when we have it nice, tall, and pointy, revolve it to 4 sides, it looks really good. It's not the most unique, but you can definitely put your own creative flair to it. You can also add an end rod to the top. But now, with all this, we can actually add a little extra thing. This mainly applies to towers bigger than mine. Mine can't actually support this in a comfortable manner. You can add little windows to this. And you can see here, that's definitely personal preference. But if your roof was bigger, then you could definitely do more. So if you want to build a much larger version of this, maybe with a foundation closer to like 18 by 18, well, remember the no even rule, still try building something bigger if you want to incorporate this style of window. Either way, without that, your tower is not done actually, because we have another thing. So looking into this, we need to make sure this clock piece actually connects to our tower itself. Otherwise, it looks like it's kind of just floating there. You can see here, now it looks like it's actually been bolted on. So let's do that real quick. And then, as you're doing this, you're almost done with the build actually. The only thing left to do is we need to add a little bit of foliage, because you can see here, it's just not quite there yet. So making some final modifications, you can always edit the top layer, just make sure you have Silk Touch for convenience. Now we zoom out and we can see just the tower's gradient looking a little bit bare. On the bottom we added some plants, so let's do precisely that. So looking at our plant options, we have quite a few varieties of leaves. We can do something like oak, like this, or maybe spruce. Spruce is a bit darker and works well with copper. Or you could go with birch, which has varying mixed results. Then you can also try some jungle, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you're in a jungle. Acacia has a bit more texture, and mangrove is very green. Then we have cherry, and pale, probably not pale. We have a white gradient. And then we have azalea's mix. So what did I do? Promptly just combine them. So we can see here, I have a bunch of arcing leaves going across the corners of the tower, and it has red terracotta and mangrove striptalog fruits, or berries, or whatever. So you can see here, we have a mix. We have the dark oak, the mangrove, they work well as a combo with their differing textures. One's much greener and leafier, and the other one is more typical. And then we have all of our fruits to provide the contrast. You can try all different colors for your fruits. But once you have that, well, you are done with this video. You can see here, you have a completed clock tower. There's only an optional thing you can add on. Maybe you want to try a bit of lighting again. because, well, this is a very brightened clip. So you could try something like this, where you have yourself some hidden sea lanterns like that, and you can't see it from this angle, so that's pretty good. Experiment with different ways to do backward stairs. So now, going to the top, our end rod, now it's truly complete. And we're going to take a quick look at all the ways I hide lighting onto the build, onto the tower itself. So we have our carpet here, that hides it. Then we go up, right here we have some hidden sea lanterns behind some of the deep slate. And then up here, the middle of the clock hands, actually are a trapdoor now, which means it lets light through. So now, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. Of course, this is the first video with a truly actually finished editing style. So if you like this, you can always comment what you liked, what I could improve upon, and any ideas you have. I have a remarkable high amount of different assets I can use. So either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.